There is a difference between knowledge and technology. Knowledge doesn't fail us. This is a quote from the book that I find very important. Hi, I'm Anjali Patel from Mr. Blakeslee's Advanced Sci-Fi Fall 2016 class, and today I'm here to talk about the book Matched by Ali Kondai. A brief summary of the book is there's a girl named Cassia. She's the protagonist, and she lives in a country called the Society. In this society, they decide everything for you. They decide who you're going to marry, when you're going to die, and so much more. Basically, they live in a utopian society where everyone is equal. They are limited to everything in the society to 100. There are 100 poems, 100 stories, 100 history lessons, etc. They also aren't allowed to run or write, and followed by other things. I personally find this quite odd, but everyone in the society seems to be fine. Anyways, at age 17, everyone gets matched and they find their future husband or wife. Cassia is 17 and she goes to the ceremony and gets matched with her best friend Alexander. After the ceremony, they get a card that gives information about the other person, and when Cassia gets her card, it malfunctioned, and another name showed up on her screen. The person who showed up was Kai. She knew him from childhood, but not very well. After that, she's confused about herself and who she's supposed to be with, and she begins to question society. But before I continue, there may be some spoilers in this video, so if you have not read this book, I caution you. There are many aspects of this book that I find, very average. None of the settings are any different from any other dystopian story that I've read. For example, the setting in the story is very basic. The story isn't set in a utopian society in the future, which made the story kind of predictable that a girl was going to rebel against a society. But at the same time, without giving this integral setting, the story wouldn't have been the same and is needed in the book. Also, another important setting in the book is the woods or hills where Kay and Cassia went to hike. I felt that this place is an escape place for them and is far away from the perfect place, and I think it made them feel like they were in control. In addition to that, there's a lot of connection to the color green in the story, like the green dress she wore to the ceremony, the green pill that's supposed to calm you down, and being in the woods where they are surrounded by a lot of color. All a coincidence? I think not. Anyways, this setting reminded me of the Hunger Games, because in that, Katniss is living in a utopian society in the future, and she goes to the wood to escape too and rebels against the government. To continue this discussion, I also felt that the themes in this book were also very dull, and same to any other dystopian story. I don't think there was much difference. I completely understand how there's going to be common stuff throughout every dystopian story, but I felt like there was no new message in the story, but some topics in the book were freedom, obedience, and struggle of imagination. And some basic themes in the book were be who you are, follow your dreams. It doesn't matter what others do, follow your heart. And I don't think there was really a theme that was different from other stories. It was a classic man versus society book. Furthermore, the characters in the story are somewhat more interesting. As I mentioned earlier, the protagonist of the story is Cassia. She is facing the problem between two boys and what to do in society. Everyone is rooting for her and to break through the social norms. She's also a dynamic character because she loses her grandpa in the book and it changes how she looks at life. Another change she goes through is during the climax when she has to decide what she's going to do about Kai when she's sorting people. In addition, one character that is an implicit character is Alexander. He gets angry throughout the book because he likes Cassia, but she isn't sure who she likes, and then after a while he begins to help her because she figures out that she loves Kai, and the author doesn't tell you how he actually feels. You have to figure that out by yourself, and gives little background on who he is. But Kai is probably one of my favorite characters in the book because he's an implicit and round character. He's mysterious and we have to learn about him from the author. In addition to that, in the book he isn't allowed to get married or have children, but he's brought up on Cassia's device, which is a little weird. He has also so much depth into him that isn't shown in the book. And one of my favorite parts in the whole book is when um, he teaches Cassia how to write her name, because writing is banned in society. And I find this fascinating because I feel like the no writing rule is gonna happen in the future soon and become a actual reality. In an article from the Washington Post, cursive writing is disappearing from public schools. They're taking out cursive writing, and soon I believe that they'll take out writing in general and we'll just use new technology and resort to typing. But I like how Kai is trying to bring back old school traditions, and he changes constantly throughout the story. Finally, the plot of the story definitely has its ups and downs. The exposition includes background information about the society and about Cassia, and it also includes a ceremony. The climax includes Cassia being taken to where her final sorting test would be done. During this test, she will be sorting real people, and her decisions will be used and permanent. She's very nervous because she has to sort Kai. He works at the nutrition center. It is the worst place to work. Cassia has done her sort with the exception of Kai. He's in the middle of both groups. Cassia eventually decides to put him in the group that gets a new work position. I'm not going to tell you what happens in the end because I don't want to spoil it. I think the plot was decent, but the way it was executed was not my favorite. They took too long to explain small details. An example is when Kai and Cassia in the beginning would only say a few, maybe 4 words to each other, and the author, Ali Kandi, would use 10 pages to explain this interaction. But overall, this book is your basic girl falls in love with bad boy in a dystopian society, and the guy's an outcast, and she falls in love with him, and they try to break the rules, and that show that everyone doesn't have to be equal, everyone can be creative and come up with new things. And if you like romance, then this is a book for you. And if you don't like romance, or don't like a basic, boring, common dystopian type of story, then I wouldn't recommend this book. Thank you for listening.